Real have avoided defeat in their last 41 La Liga games, the second best streak by a team in the competition's history, after Barcelona's run of 43 games unbeaten in 2018. Villarreal managed 12 attempts in total, one more than the hosts, but they still came away with nothing. The visitors started brightly, and Real goalkeeper Andriy Lunin had to intervene 8 minutes into the game to block a dangerous cross from Nicolas Pep. Valverde, however, earned an early advantage for the hosts when Captain Modric set up the Uruguayan midfielder from a corner, and the ball bounced off a Villarreal defender and into the net. Jude Bellingham and Kylian Mbappe had further chances ahead of the break before the pace slowed down following the restart. Villarreal, without their injured top scorer Ayoze Perez, who has 6 goals this season, were close to equalizing shortly after the break when Alex Baena threatened Lunin's goal, but only found the side netting. Villarreal's defense managed to keep Vinicius at bay when the Brazilian grew into the game in the latter part of the first half. However, the 24-year-old forward eventually found the net later in the second, scoring his 4th league goal of the season. The defending champions were in need of a positive performance after losing 1-0 at Lille in the Champions League on Wednesday and being held to a 1-1 stalemate at Atletico Madrid in their previous La Liga game. Real, second in the standings, provisionally moved level with Barcelona on the 21 points before the La Liga leaders visit 11th-placed Alaves on Sunday. Villarreal, who have made a strong start to their league campaign with 5 wins from 9 games, are third with 17 points. An early Federico Valverde strike helped Real Madrid to a 2-0 home win against Villarreal in La Liga on Saturday, as Carlo Ancelotti's men returned to winning ways after 2 games without a victory. Real took the lead in the 14th minute with a stunning long-range shot by Valverde, following a Luka Modric corner, before Brazilian forward Vinicius Jr. sealed the win in the 73rd with an unstoppable strike into the top corner from outside the box. Wolves showed defensive frailties in West London, as despite scoring 3 goals of their own, Gary O'Neill's side conceded 5 against Brentford on a Premier League afternoon to forget. Although Matheus Cunha, Jørgen Strand Larsen, and Ryan Ait-Nouri found the back of the net under the sun of the capital, the Old Gold were caught out time and time again at the back as the Bees put 5 past the visitors, and their tally could have been even greater had it not been for goalkeeper Sam Johnstone, who made several one-on-one saves. After scoring in the first minute of their last 3 matches, Brentford were just 15 seconds from making it 4 on the bounce as the Bees took an early lead. Former Wolves man Nathan Collins got the better of his former teammates as he rose highest in the box before guiding his header into the far corner and past Johnstone. The hosts almost scored an identical goal moments later as Keane Lewis Potter was found at the far post by Brian Mbeumo's cross, but this time the Wolves keeper kept the ball out. However, Wolves weren't behind for long, and with their first attack of the match, Nelson Semedo was played into space down the right, and after cutting the ball back to Cunha inside the Brentford box, he lifted a right-footed effort into the top corner. In a frenetic first half, both teams had the chance to score the third of the game, as Ait-Nouri fired into the side netting from a tight angle, before Semedo blasted his shot over the crossbar after good work by Carlos Forbes, making his first Wolves start on the wing. Brentford were relying on crosses and set pieces to put Wolves under pressure, and their second of the afternoon came from that source. Although Wolves were able to clear a corner before dealing with more and more balls put into the area, referee Andrew Madley was called over to the VR screen and decided Mario Lemina had pulled down Collins from the initial corner. After the referee decided it was a penalty, Mbeumo stepped up to the spot and sent Johnstone the wrong way. Wolves dragged themselves back level again before the half-hour mark through Strand Larsen, as the big Norwegian number 9 was able to stretch his long legs onto an Ait-Nouri cross ahead of Ethan Pinnock to divert the ball inside the far post. But Wolves were only level for 90 seconds, as Christian Norgard was picked out inside the box after the visitors tried and failed to play themselves out from the back, before firing a low drive across Johnstone and into the net. Wolves were relying on Johnstone to keep the score down to just the 3 they had conceded, as the keeper made a point-blank save to deny Kevin Shade from close range, before stopping the same player from range. Mateo Kočić scored twice, and Jeremy Doku grabbed a vital third as City secured a hard-earned 3-2 win over Fulham. The visitors struck first after the Blues had gone close a couple of times, with Andreas Pereira scoring for the Cottagers on 26. But Kovacic leveled 6 minutes later and scored his second 2 minutes into the second half. Fulham, impressive throughout, went close to leveling on a couple of occasions, with Doku grabbing a superb late third to give City breathing space. City could, and probably should, have been 2 goals up inside the first 4 minutes. First of all, the ball fell kindly for Ilkay Gundogan, who fizzed a low-angled shot narrowly past the right post, and moments later, Erling Haaland found space behind the Fulham defense, but sent his shot just wide of the same upright. In fact, it was almost total City domination for the first 17 minutes, until Adama Traore broke clear but was denied by a fine Ederson save. The Blues continued to probe without really testing the Fulham keeper, and were made to pay on 27 minutes, when a hopeful header from Alex Iwobi found Raul Jimenez, who then backheeled the ball into the 6-yard box for Andreas Pereira to prod home from a couple of yards. A Fulham counterattack down the right minutes later should have resulted in a second goal, but Traore shot over with just Ederson to beat. It had all been against the overall run of play, but the Blues had been uncharacteristically sloppy in possession and lacking sharpness in the opposition box. But the champions were level with the next attack on 32 as a City corner was half cleared to the edge of the box, and Kovacic thumped home a powerful rising shot from 15 yards to make it 1-1. City went looking for a third, but Fulham were a constant danger on the break. Kyle Walker and Doku were introduced just past the hour in a tactical switch by Pep Guardiola, but the visitors continued to counter in numbers. On 68 minutes, Traore again broke clear and was once more denied by a fine Ederson save. The warning signs were clear and recurring a little too frequently for the home support. Goals from Kai Havertz, Gabriel Martinelli, and Bukayo Saka saw us come from behind to sneak past a spirited Southampton side at Emirates Stadium. After a quiet first half, the game exploded into life when Cameron Archer put the Saints in front as they searched for their first win on our patch since 1987. However, that sparked us into life, and Kai Havertz netted for the 7th straight home game to quickly level things, and 10 minutes later, substitute Martinelli slipped us in front. We would have to survive a few scares laid on as the visitors struck the woodwork twice in quick succession, but Saka wrapped up the points 2 minutes from the end to register our 400th Premier League home win and head into the international break with our 16-game unbeaten run intact. First half frustration. The opening 45 minutes were instantly forgettable as the Gunners were left frustrated by failing to break the deadlock despite being in complete control of proceedings. Things looked good in the first 10 minutes as we camped ourselves in the visiting penalty area, but with 11 Saints sitting behind the ball, content to soak up as much as possible, clear-cut chances were at a premium. Gabriel saw a header from a corner blocked, while Gabriel Jesus had a couple of sights of goal thwarted, with Havertz next to nod over a flag kick as Russell Martin's defense lived dangerously. Only 2 shots on target were registered in the first 30 minutes, with Kyle Walker-Peters testing his luck from range, but David Raya was barely troubled. And with 6 in his last 6 Emirates appearances, Havertz looked certain to extend that run, but a diving defender stopped his shot, reached the returning Aaron Ramsdale. As the final few minutes of the half ticked by, Jorginho whizzed a shot from 20 yards, just wide of our former shot-stopper's far post. And in stoppage time, Ramsdale finally dirtied his gloves when from a similar position, Thomas Partey drove a low effort towards the opposite corner, but it was fielded well by the England international as he took a clean sheet into the interval. Archer Arrows in Martin would have been delighted that his game plan was working, and with 3 minutes of the second half gone, Southampton nearly pinched the lead. Tyler Dibbling slipped past Ricardo Calafiori down the right and saw a cross deflect into the path of Mateus Fernandes, who stabbed it onto the top of the crossbar. But on 54 minutes, we failed to heed the warning, and the Saints snatched the lead. Fernandes dispossessed Raheem Sterling and clipped the ball over the backline for Archer to run onto. And he composed himself before coolly tucking the ball into the bottom corner as the visitors threatened to claim their first win in 20 top-flight games. 2. Turn it around. We needed a response to lift not just ourselves but the crowd, and fortunately, it took just 4 minutes to get it, and of course it was red-hot Havertz who grabbed it. Diogo Jota marked his 100th start for the Reds in all competitions with a clinical piece of finishing just 9 minutes in at Selhurst Park. Arne Slot's charges were unable to add to their advantage in the remainder, but ensured no response from Palace either, to claim a 6th win in 7 league matches in 2024-25 so far. Team head coach Slot made 4 changes to his starting XI, including places in attack for Cody Gakpo and Jota. Kostas Tsimikas came in at left back and Curtis Jones joined the midfield. Goalkeeper Koeman Kelleher was not in the squad due to illness. Liverpool, Alisson Jar 79, Van Dijk Konate McAllister, Szoboszlai 46, Salah, Diaz 73, Jones Endo 89, Gakpo, Jota, Tsimikas, Robertson 79, Gravenberch, Alexander Arnold. Unused subs, Gomez, Nunez, Quansah, Bradley. First half, the Eagles almost made the perfect start with less than 1 minute played. Picked out in the center of the box from the right flank, Eddie Nketiah deftly lifted the ball over Alisson Becker from close range, but a raised offside flag cut short celebrations. Emerging from the hosts' early buoyancy, Liverpool began to settle, and they carved through to take a 9th-minute advantage with an excellent goal. Tsimikas threaded a pass through the left channel for Gakpo to move in behind, and he in turn guided a low pass along the front of goal, where Jota arrived determinedly and planted a finish past Dean Henderson. Slot's men were enjoying more than 80% of the ball around the midway point of the half as they probed for a second, with Gakpo lashing one curler too high from the corner of the area. Trent Alexander-Arnold drew a diving save from Henderson with a low, angled half-volley from 20 yards before Jota miscued a strong chance on 34 minutes. Ryan Gravenberch had combined with Mohamed Salah to break into space right of the box and picked out the goalscorer in the center. Jota got minimal contact on his attempted side footer, however, and the ball drifted away. There was another Reds chance before the break, as Virgil van Dijk met Alexander-Arnold's near-post corner, but could only glance off target as Nathaniel Clyne leaned on the Liverpool captain. Still, the visitors needed Alisson to get down quickly and grasp a low drive across goal from Ismail Assar, who had been fed into shooting territory by Maxence Lacroix's crisp forward pass. Second half, Dominik Szoboszlai replaced Alexis McAllister in the Liverpool midfield at the beginning of a half that quite quickly settled back into the pattern of the opening 45 minutes. The first genuine chance materialized for the away team on 56. Salah picked out in the Eagles' area to the right. The Egyptian got the ball under control and prodded it towards the net, but found Henderson in the way. Jota spurned the chance to give Slot's side a cushion on the scoresheet just after the hour mark, heading wide when connecting with Alexander-Arnold's delicate set piece into the middle.